And Nitro's Garage for all your automotive needs. Call 646-675-2349. That's 646-675-2349. For all your automotive needs, Nitro's Garage. Ask for Jack.
Man who walks him around, he's all alone to fall all the way down.
Way of training, and once you explain that, can you do pretty much the same thing that the Hogan did? Kind of explain what got you into the business and who helped you to get started in there. But I'm interested to know myself, how in the hell you get to look like that? You jack, bro.
Man, this is coming from somebody who's twice my size. Man, I'm trying to get like you, brother, man. You see those arms right there?
Well, all you gotta do is get fat, bald-headed, black, and ugly. You look just like me.
Well, I'm halfway there.
Yeah.
Monty and the Pharaoh, #1 wrestling podcast. Yeah, when it comes to podcasts, they are the cream, the crumb. Yeah, dig it?
Heartless man. We don't need him around.
Look what we have here. All right. So I hope you guys like the wardrobe change. Keeping it in the festive holiday season spirit type of deal. Hopefully you can see this with Buddy's ass in the way. But what's your ass there, buddy? There you go. This is my Motch-0-Man ugly Christmas sweater. I don't think it's ugly. And it's soft and it's very warm. And the guy on the sweater looks just like me. So, therefore, it can't be ugly, right? Sit down, buddy. Sit down. You wanted to sit on my lap? You wanted to be the co-host, man. You gotta just sit and chill, all right? Daisy, where are you at? There she is. Look at her. So I got my co-host with me. I'm in the Honda Studios here. My remote location. I'm on location, yeah. I'm scouting, I don't know. But here's the deal. Continuing where I left off, if I can remember, in the last part 1 of this episode, I was speaking to you guys about the law of attraction, the secret, the universe, whatever you want to call it. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Some of you don't know what I'm talking about. Some of you care. Some of you don't care. Some of you think that I'm on point. Some of you think that I, belong in a rubber room with a jacket that ties in the back. And you all might be correct. But that doesn't change the fact that the law of attraction is the way that the world works. And if you believe it or not, it doesn't even matter, because it's going to work the way that it's going to work anyway. So I was going to share some stories with you. I believe where I left off is telling you how the law of attraction was brought to me, and it was sort of the law of attraction that brought the law of attraction to me. If you were paying attention in the first part 1, you know what I'm talking about. But ever since that day, it's it's been proven to me, right, buddy? It's been proven to me that that it is the real deal, and I'm gonna share with you a couple of instances of how I know that. And it started working for me, you know, long before I knew what it was. Obviously, you know, I learned about it, like I told you, from this girl, just to give you a recap, who I was never even supposed to be sitting next to on a plane, and she, you know, smartened me up to what the whole deal was with the secret and everything, and you know, and you know, I wasn't supposed to sit next to her, so, you know, whatever, I'm not gonna go through the whole story, but, you know, obviously, if I would have been sitting in my original seat, then I would have never, you know, talked to her and found out about it. I would have found out eventually some other way, because everybody is meant to find out, man, and, you know, but in this particular case, I remember, some people don't remember what it was or how they all of a sudden, you know, were smartened up to it, but they are eventually, man. And whether you believe, you know, whatever you believe that it is, but when that saying, you know, everything happens for a reason, and all that, you know, whether you say, like, you know, that God or the universe or whatever, everything happens for a reason, and that's absolutely true. And the funny thing is that girl, I didn't add this in, is that she completely disappeared off the face of the earth, and it's like really weird how, like, you could pretty much find anybody online, and because we went a little bit without talking, and then I tried to call her, and then, you know, the phone was no longer her number or whatever, and I searched for her, and she was a chiropractor in Miami, and you know, I knew her full name and everything. I could not find her whatsoever. So it's like, it's really weird, you know. It's like somebody comes into your life and then they kind of like disappear. I don't know if you've ever had that happen to you before, but it's, you know, it's just really one of those things, man. Maybe I think a little bit outside the box, I don't know. But anyway, one of the best examples that I can share with you of how when you want something bad enough, and you know, it's not just in your mind, it's in your heart, it's in your soul, it's you know, you really believe, and you know, you really feel like it's gonna happen, where there is no like what ifs, there is no like what if it doesn't happen, you know. It's like it's almost like you have to convince the universe, you know what I mean? If you truly feel something, and there's no doubt in your mind, and there's no doubt in your heart and soul, the universe is gonna give it to you, man. Like, and here's a perfect example. I knew nothing about the law of attraction, and I'm actually gonna have to put the AC on, man. Damn hot in this sweater. I knew nothing about it, and the way that I became a wrestler was basically, you can't say that it was anything other than the law of attraction. I mean, everybody out there knows that I wanted to be a wrestler more than anything else in the world from the time that I was like 10 or 11, you know, up until the time that I became a wrestler, you know what I mean? When I was about 20, 21, 22 is when I, you know, manifested it. And hey buddy, can you sit down? Your ass is kind of like in the video scope there. Good. Here, look out the window. So here I was, man. I was working at a gas station, and I had just for whatever reason, I don't know, man, I was it was a cool job, man. You know, I was in my 20s, and you know, my bosses were cool. They were like my age, and we all hung out outside of work, and you know, we hooked up our cars and all that kind of stuff, and everything was cool. There was no reason for me to want to switch gears, but I was getting more and more into fitness. Get down. And I was working out at this gym that was actually right up the street from the gas station, and I heard that they were hiring. They wanted somebody to work, and I inquired about it, and I kind of figured that was the direction to go, because I was getting more and more into the whole. I felt like I was getting closer to becoming a wrestler. I don't know, like it was like something told me, man, do what you got to do and live that gym life type of deal. And I started training a lot more serious. I started training with a friend of mine that I always looked up to. He was a big bodybuilder, and he looked like a wrestler. And so we started to train together. He started teaching me like everything there is to know about eating and nutrition and other secrets of the trade, and everything just kind of was happening at the same time. I was getting big. I was working at the gym. I was eating 20 times a day. You know what I mean? I was just basically being molded and coached, and I didn't even know it. And one day, the guy that owned the gym, my boss that hired me, it was kind of like I was working a couple day or two on the job there, that I had just started, and he's like just sitting down talking to me, and he's like just trying to get to know me, and he says, so what are you thinking? What do you want to do with, what do you want to do with your life? What are your plans? He's like, I know you don't plan on working in this gym forever. I mean, what are your future goals? I mean, and this wasn't an interview. Like, I had already had the job, but he was just kind of like making small talk with me. And now, this is the weird part, because I never really told a lot of people that I wanted to be a wrestler. There was only a select few close friends. A lot of my family didn't even know, because I didn't know, I didn't tell anybody who I thought may not back me up. You know what I mean? Who might try to shoot me down, or haters or whatever. You know what I mean? So there was I had more friends, more close friends, and some acquaintances, but I actually trusted, to tell them more than I wanted to tell my family. But there wasn't a whole lot of people that knew that I wanted to be a wrestler, and or at least at that point, where when I was a kid, everybody kind of knew, but as I got older and it started to become more of okay, I'm not a kid having this dream of I want to be an astronaut type of deal. You know what I mean? So when I got bigger, when I was kind of prepping myself to be this wrestler, just by my my appearance and everything, I said to him, which is really odd that I would tell a complete stranger. So he says to me, what do you want to do? And I said, well, to be honest, man, I don't really tell a lot of people this, but I'd like to be a professional wrestler. That's my dream. It's my goal, man. That's my passion. And the next words out of his mouth, changed my life, man. And you want to talk about everything happening for a reason. If I didn't decide at that particular time, sometimes you do things and you don't even know why, but you realize that the timing was perfect, and nothing happens by accident. There is no such thing as coincidences. So he says to me, hey, there's a guy that works out here who's a professional wrestler. I'll introduce you to him. And it was the next couple days later, I'm working, and he introduces me to this guy named Vinny. And at this time, there was no internet and all that stuff, so I didn't know about indie promotions and this and that or whatever. I was confused that he was a wrestler, but I didn't know who he was. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I learned that there was independent promotions and where you go to train, because I never really knew how you went about going to a wrestling school. I knew that there were wrestling schools, but it wasn't you could search them on Google, But so I think it was I remember it being in October. It was a week before my birthday in November. It was the end of October, and we went down to go train for the very first time. And on that date, it was like, I went from, Daisy's getting restless. What are you doing? Well, now they both want to get on my lap. This is going to be fun. Oh, she took over. All right, they're taking shifts on my lap here. Shifts, not shits. So right then and there, man, it was like, that was the beginning. Next thing you know, we were training every Tuesday and Thursday, man, taking a long drive in rush hour traffic down to Brooklyn from Westchester. That's New York. And I became a wrestler, all because it came to me, is what I'm saying, man. You realize that all I knew is that I was going to become a wrestler. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, but deep in my soul, I knew my future. I knew that it was going to happen. When people would say to me, well, what if it doesn't happen? What's your plan B? There ain't no plan B. I'm telling you what's going to happen. I said it with such conviction. Is that the right word? Conviction. That usually conviction means something else in my, you understand what I'm saying there? Joke. Anyway, but it's like, deep down, man, I knew, you know what I mean? It was like I was like predicting the future. Like I knew that strongly that, this is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be a wrestler. And I did become a wrestler. And I did it for, 12 years or whatever. I'm not really sure. I know that I started in 97, started training in 97. First match was 98. Everything after that's a big blur. I don't know when I really stopped, because I don't, there was a million times that I said that I was done and then I went back and had another match, or I said I was done and then I went back and started training, So I don't really know when I was like actually like done with being, in the ring. But that doesn't matter. The point is that I manifested becoming a wrestler because I wanted it that bad. And I didn't have to know, anything other than this is going to happen. So right there, it's like, the difference between asking the universe or praying, it's the same thing. All I did was put it out there and, just put it out and give it to the universe, give it to God, give it to the big genie in the sky, whatever. But that's how it works, guys. And the thing is, though, this is the trick, man. It sounds too good to be true. And in a way it is, because here's the deal, man. You need to learn how to make your brain work that way. And it's not easy, because everybody's brain is wired automatically to be negative and to not believe fully in yourself and listen to the naysayers and, all that stuff. And I remember I said, well, realizing that in order to make the law of attraction work for me, that my brain needed to be programmed in a way that I could make it work for me, I used the law of attraction to make my brain wired to realize how the law of attraction works and to tap into that. Now, I know that sounds real hokey, but that is true, man. I knew what to do, but I just didn't know, my brain just wasn't like on that level that I could, but I figured, what? I did it by accident without realizing I was doing it, and manifested things. So I know that I have the ability. So I'm just gonna pray or put out to the universe that I'm able to make the law of attraction work for me more easily. And I took that and I kind of just put the same, the same practice, the way that I became a wrestler and everything. I said, well, you know what, man, all I did was just know that I was gonna make that happen and nothing else. And of course, I put the work in, man. I put the time in the gym. I put the time, everything with me was all about wrestling. You know what I mean? So you got to put, work into it as well. But it's mostly about just, believing that, like, whatever it is that you want, that it's already yours. You got to feel what it feels like, try to imagine what it feels like to have that dream come true, or to have whatever it is that you want. And you got to have a lot of, you got to have belief and faith, which again, same thing as religion, man. They tell you to just have faith, and it's kind of like by saying, just, want it, work towards it, and trust it that it's going to happen. When you clog your brain up with how am I going to do it, and what do I have to do, and all that kind of stuff, man, it counteracts the law, because you're not putting faith into it. You know what I mean? So you're doubting it. So now, it's not gonna work for you. So what I did was, man, with a lot of things, another thing that I manifested, that you guys probably don't know, because this audience is kind of new to knowing me and stuff, but I had a dream car that I wanted ever since they first came out, and it was a Chevy SSR. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it was a really rare looking, they only made them for a few years, and it was like a pickup truck, but it was a hardtop convertible, 2-seater. Really stood out, really different looking. Look it up. It's, when I saw that for the first time, I said, I'm gonna get one of those. I'm gonna drive one of those one day. And that's all, man. I just put it out there. And every time I saw one, man, I was like, I pictured myself, having it. I actually took one for a test drive just to get that feeling of what it feels like to be the owner and be behind that wheel. And it took a little while. Things don't happen overnight. But it was just like the right timing. You know what I mean? That's another thing too, man. You got to listen to that little voice in your head. Not the one that I get sometimes, but the voice, your gut feeling, your instinct, your, whatever you want to call it, man, it's all the same. But it knows the right time. And when it's the right time to do something, you'll know. And if you ignore that, that's no good. Because I knew that it was the right time for me to make that happen with that to get that car. And the way that it happened, once again, it was time for me to get rid of the car that I was driving. It was breaking down a lot or whatever. And I was just like, you know what? I'm working, making decent money, I'm going to go see if I could afford this dream car. I'm going to find one and, see if I could afford the payments and this and that, whatever. And, the timing was just like, something told me, like, do it now, So I searched. Let me see, what did I do here? Oh, I thought that I typed in CarMax to see if any of the CarMax lots had one, because even if they don't have one in the area, they usually have, they'll tell you if they have one in any of their locations. And a lot of times people will find the car they want, and they'll get it shipped to them or whatever. So I thought I put in CarMax, and it pulled up a Carfax of this SSR. And this particular one just happened to be at a dealership here in Vegas. I didn't put in, well, I think I did put in CarMax Vegas, and then it pulled up the Carfax, and then it showed that there was an SSR at this Chevy dealership. Sorry about these camera hogs here, guys. You're usually pretty good about this here. And so I called them up and I said, hey man, you still got that yellow SSR over there? Because it was the Carfax, but it said where the car was. And he says to me, how did you know that car was over here? We didn't advertise it yet. I said, oh no, I just saw it online. And he goes, we didn't put it out online yet. How did you know that it was here at this location? And I don't know how that happened, but somehow I found that car at that dealership. And make a long story short, you know, sometimes you don't know how things happen. And to this day, I still don't really know how that ended up, happening that way. That car was not advertised on their website, at their dealership. But maybe I don't know how Carfax works. Maybe the Carfax, will tell you where the car is currently. I don't know. But I went down there and made a deal with the guy, and I told him, what I was able to afford and what I was going to pay for it, and of course, how dealerships are, went back and forth and everything, and I know the game, so you can't work a worker, you know what I mean? So he'd shoot me some numbers, and I'm like, no, and I told him, look, man, the payment's got to be under $400 a month, or I'm not, I can't do it. So he told me I'll be right back, let me go talk to my manager, blah blah blah, you know the deal. If you've ever gone to a car dealership. And I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm not changing my story. And and another issue too, by the way, was my credit, because I didn't have any credit, man. I didn't have bad credit, I didn't have any credit, because I had never bought, I never financed, or I just never really did much with my credit, so there was only one bank that approved me out of all the other banks that, it looked like it wasn't going to happen. And he checked, he goes, let me check, Wells Fargo, and Wells Fargo approved me, and, I got him down to, what was my payment? It was $390.71. That was my payment each month, with a whole lot of interest. And that's just an example of that it happened for me, you know what I mean? Like, somehow a bank approved me, somehow I was able to get the payments right at 400, and I got to enjoy driving my dream car. I had a 5-year lease, and I forget, I had about a year and a half left on it, and because of circumstances, I had to sell it because I couldn't afford the payments, financial troubles and all that kind of stuff, and but it was all right, man, because I did it. And it wasn't just me driving that car, it was me accomplishing that goal that I had when I said years earlier, I'm going to have one of those one day. And I've made a lot of things happen and come true, man, and it's only because I knew how to, and I'm still learning, man, believe me, there's still so much more for me to tap into, you know what I mean? And it's hard sometimes, man, because when your mind ain't thinking right, and you're not in the best of positive spirits, which if you've been keeping track of these Motch-0-Mandays, you'll know a couple episodes back, or last episode, we spoke about mental illness, and especially with things like that, man, that's a big roadblock when you're trying to make these kind of things happen, man. So it does make it a little tougher, but you can't give up. You just know that you got to work a little harder at making your mind work the way that it needs to manifest things. I'll give you one more example before I let you go and ponder all this craziness. But these are real, you can't deny it, man. I mean, I don't know what, you could be listening to this and just be like, oh, okay, coincidence, or, whatever you want to call it. But here's, okay, so in 2007, I left OVW because things weren't happening, down there. Maybe I didn't put enough, I did have doubts of myself and my wrestling ability, and there were things that I don't think that I was at that particular time. I don't think I was 100% wanting it as bad as I did, when I prior to going down there. You know what I mean? But whatever, for whatever reason, it didn't work, and everything happens for a reason, and things don't happen for a reason, and I am. It is a blessing in disguise that I never got signed, and I don't regret that at all. But when I left OVW, I moved to Las Vegas, and I had, just like when I moved to when I moved to Kentucky, I didn't know what I was going to do for work. I didn't know, I moved without thinking about, what am I going to do? What am I going to do for work? How am I going to survive out there? Because, if you do that, you start talking yourself out of doing it, right? So I just said, hey, man, I'm just going to go. Pack in my car, and I'm driving down there. Whatever's going to be is going to be. I ain't going to end up homeless, because I ain't going to let that happen. Things will work out. You don't know how. You don't have to ask how, remember, right? So I went down there and, eventually found a way to make a living. You know what I mean? I started bouncing. I started doing things that, worked around